Yeah, good morning. Welcome back to Mark's Railway Trails. And what we're on today is not a railway trail again. It's a bit of local history. And if you look just ahead of you now, what we're going to find today is a place called the Red Rocks that a lot of people in St Helens will know, and the Eccleston Hall estates. I'll tell you more about it as we start walking it. It's not a long blog, but some really nice scenery around here, and it's again somewhere where I kind of grew up as well, so I wanted to get it on the blog. But if you're wondering where we're starting the trail this morning, that'll give you an idea. If you start here at Prescott Drive, it takes you into the back of it really. But where I'm going to take you first this morning is going off the trail a little bit, because all those of you who know this area, just on through the woods here, it leads you to Eccleston Mere, and it's a place that we've been trying to get into for quite a bit, and we're going to have a cut through here and have a look as we're doing the Eccleston Hall estate. So I just wanted to have a look down here, the back end of Eccleston Mere. I'm just going to have a nip through here now, and you're going to get undercover here a bit really, because many years ago there was a farmer on here that didn't like you coming across here. He said it was private land, and it's a bit like Eccleston Mere now. You cannot get on to Eccleston Mere because they just fenced it all off now since it's been sold. Pilkinson sold Eccleston Mere, and you can't actually get on it now. But I'm just going to flick my camera over here now and just show you something that a lot of people won't know here. If you look directly in front of you there now, and I'll try and get my camera a bit further in. If you look there now and you're wondering what that is, in World War II that was like an air raid shelter that went under the path, and it was used around Eccleston as a big air raid shelter. It's just all been filled in now, sadly, but you can just see the head of it there if you're looking at it. If I get my camera right there, you can just see it. Like I said, that was used as an air raid shelter really in World War II. But what a view we've got up here this morning, if you just look across. And that's the golf course that you can see just on top there as well. But we'll carry on walking, but I just wanted to show you that. I'll tell you more about Eccleston Hall estates and how it came about and who took it over. But we're going to nip through this woods first, because I wanted to try and see if we could get to Eccleston Mere this way really, and hopefully we can. And we used to come through here as kids, and this used to be the way into Eccleston Mere, and I don't think you can get this way now, sadly, because everything's just been blocked off regarding getting into Eccleston Mere, and I've got a feeling this is going to be blocked off as well. Now what you've got to be careful here, I remember many years ago, if you look directly ahead of you now, and the cows, and I think there's a big bull there, that gate's open because they do come in here. So if you see me legging it in a minute, a bit sharpish, you'll know why. And as you can see, that big bull has just spotted us. I don't think you can even get across here now. I think it's all been blocked off. Yeah, all been blocked off. That used to be the way that you used to get through. But what they've done, they've extended the golf course now to the back of it. That used to be an empty field there that you could get through. And I just flip my camera up here now. There, all overgrown. But behind it, I'll put my camera right up and then you can see it right over there. That is Eccleston Mere, and that used to be the way in to Eccleston Mere, but now it's the golf course, so that's one area that we'll have to investigate if you want to get into Eccleston Mere. It's coming down the golf course, but I can't see us getting in that way now. So that's answered a few questions there. You cannot get through there now, so we'll just head back down this wood. Like I say, you're not supposed to be on here really. It's classed as a farmer's field up there, and if you just look there and you can just see the bull. I'll put it on 10 times. You can just see the big bull there. He's definitely keeping an eye on me. They're all relaxing, but he's obviously head of the pack, and his head's just following me now, and his tail's going, so I don't think I hang around here, because if he comes charging down this way and somewhere on one of these trees as well is my initial carved in it. Me and Steve Wright did them, I would say probably in the late 60s, early 70s, but you'd never find it now. You'd never find it. But this is Eccleston Hall Estates that we're on now, and I'll tell you more about Eccleston Hall Estates. And they all lead to one another, leading on to Taylor Park and the Three Dams. So I've got a lot to tell you on this walk, and just answered a lot of questions today regarding getting into Eccleston Mere. We know we can't hit it from this way now because they've sold the land for the golf course. But yeah, a little bit of history there that was showing. You can just see the top of it now, the air raid shelter from World War II, and that's what's left of the fields for the farm, and behind it the golf course, which I'll take you up and show you on the top. Some good views there, but sadly can't get through there now. It's all been closed off, and that was the ideal way to get into Eccleston Mere, but sadly you'll not be getting in there now. I'll just put my camera down for a minute as we're getting over this fence. Whoa! There we go. I just wanted to check that out really. I'm glad I did really, because we know we can't get in that way. But what we're leading up to now, what we're going to find this morning is what they call the Red Rocks in St Helens. I'll show you more about that when we get into it really. What we're hitting now is what they call Eccleston Woods. All houses now, but this used to be Eccleston Hall Hospital. I'll tell you more about Eccleston Hall Hospital as we get round the corner, and you just go left as you're coming off the trail really. But yeah, this was all Eccleston Hall hospital in the 50s, 60s, and you wouldn't have got in here because there was loads of big walls around it. But what I'm going to show you now is one of the original buildings that's left from Eccleston Hall, and I'll tell you more about Eccleston Hall Estates. And there we go, a plaque just highlighting Eccleston Hall, and I'm going to go and show you one of the only buildings that's left really in Eccleston Hall. It's a bit of a grand building this in its day. It's a 16th century building this, dating from the 1830s, and it was renowned for all the pillars that they had. There was 7 pillars all around it. Just a car park in the corner now, but that gives you a better shot of it. But yeah, it was a grand building in its time, and originally this was used for a place of worship by the Catholic Church originally, with the Eccleston family, and after that it was used as like a health centre for the hospital really. But can you just see the pillars? There's like 3 on that side, there's 7 in all around. What a grand building. And Welsh slate was on the roof when I started doing the research on it, but the gardens were absolutely fantastic around here. And like everything now, they close everything off. Private property, no right away, but I mean, I'm going to do a video on it because you've got to get this for local history. It's one I wanted to do for a while really. But those apartments were used for the hospital up until 1997, and then it was sold on to a private developer like everything else is, and now it's turned into apartments. And originally that would have been a little wishing well. I remember that as a kid. It was a little wishing well here, and obviously it's been capped off now. And like I say, you couldn't really get in here many years ago when it was hospital, because they had massive walls all around it. You can just see it there in the corner now. But what you're looking at here with the housing estate now, that was Eccleston Hall Hospital, and like I say, it had massive walls around it, and you couldn't get in here at all. And as I've told you on my blogs many times, Eccleston Hall Hospital was used mainly in the 50s, 60s, when whooping cough and other chest related illnesses were going round. And one thing that always sticks in my mind, like I've said to you many times, my mum always said, do not go near Eccleston Hall Hospital, do not go over them walls, play in there. And it did frighten you, to be honest with you. That's the way we've just come. That's the little wood we investigated to get into Eccleston May. Sadly, we know we can't, so going to pick up the trail now, and we're dead on Eccleston all estates now, and I'll just keep this running all the way up. Might get a little bit boring here. Bit of a walkway that they've done now that you can cut through, and basically that just leads you, if you're wondering where this leads you, that just leads you to Taylor Park, at the front of what was Eccleston Hall Hospital, now is a housing estate and a care home, but we don't want to go that way. We're going to follow the trail right the other way. But if you can just see where the arch is there now, it's all been filled in, but just here when we was looking from the wood, you could see the air raid shelter. That's where it was here, and it went right under here, and people used it in World War II. But just been filled in, capped off now. So sad, so sad. But if you look at these walls here, the old stone walls that's still here on this side, that what was on this side, they've just copped them down a bit now, but you couldn't get over these walls into the hospital. And like I said, they wanted to keep it private because, you know, whooping cough. And there was another one at the time, I can't remember what it was, that killed a lot of people, but that's where they used to treat it. The old farmhouse is still here, and it's not altered at all since I was a kid. Still looks the same, and Eccleston Hall Farm still here. And they just call it Hall Farm, but we all know it as Eccleston Hall Farm. That just takes you into it. But if you go down here, and this is not the way we're going, we're going to go the other way. If you remember my blog on Taylor Park, and I was showing you the lost tunnels of Taylor Park and the cottages, if you remember. I'll just go down here basically and show you. This is where it leads to. That's where I kind of showing you the cottages before we hit the Three Lakes. But if you look along here, when I was telling you about all the tunnels used to run along here. Remember me showing you from Taylor Park? Used to go all the way along here, and you can't see it now, but years ago you could. And there used to be like a little brook here, all been filled in since. And you can just see, if I show you this here now, you can just see there, that's where the tunnels run towards Eccleston Mere. Can you just see it? And they all ran that way from Taylor Park, and they're the tunnels that we did as a kid. Halfway through the tunnels in Taylor Park, and luckily we didn't go any further because it would have been a bit stupid. And there's Eccleston Mere, Ecky Hall Hospital as we used to call it, which is now a care home and a housing estate, and they call it Eccleston Woods. But there's Eccleston Hall Farm, that's not changed in appearance for years, for donkey's years. And that farm dates back from the late 1920s, 1930s, and it's not really altered really since that date, really. Still the same as you remember it. But if you can just see now, as we're looking down and look up, you'll see the red stone, and this is what's known locally as the Red Rocks. But how good a find's that, to find the tunnel that we talked about, the lost tunnels at Taylor Park, that all run in that direction to Eccleston Mere over there. And I'll tell you more about Eccleston Mere as we pick up the trail. Yeah, but it's known locally this as the Red Rocks, and mainly because of the sandstone and just how it's weathered over the years. Can you see it? That's where it got its name, the Red Rocks. And if you're wondering where this leads to, this takes you up to Prescott Road, all the way up to the top. But we're going to cut across in a minute and get onto the golf course, and we'll show you Eccleston Mere. That it's a bit of a grey area at the moment, Eccleston Mere, because they've blocked off all the walkways. You cannot get into it at all now. It's all fenced off, 10-foot high fences, and that's why I wanted to check that wood. That was used to be the way in. Sadly, they sold the land to the golf club now, and you can't get in that way. You can just see how it climbs, and the red sandstone. There you go, classic shot of the Red Rocks for you all to see. You can just see the slate as well popping out. Well, as we get on the higher level now, I'm hopefully going to cut across onto the golf course, and I'll just show you the view. Unbelievable view, really. I'll tell you more about Eccleston Hall Estates, because there's things I found out that I didn't know about. This is just a runway now from the golf club, but we're gonna hit the golf club, and you're not supposed to be on here, but it's just going to give you such a good view of what you're looking at on the top. If you look over there now, Eccleston Mere, we used to be able to get into Eccleston Mere. They've just closed it off now. If you look right in the distance over there, that used to be the way into Eccleston Mere. Try and get you a better angle, better shot than that, really. We'll keep on the path. See a bit of deer there as well. Here we go, we follow the paths round, and you get some of these golfers say you're not supposed to be on here, but and they close all the walkways off. But what a view, what a view. This is where the path ends. But we'll get a shot from just past these trees before we get kicked off in here. And Derek Riley. This is why I wanted to do this, to see. And if you can see how high we're up now, if you can just see, I'll just flip my camera, get you a better shot. Do you remember showing you the air raid shelter? There, you can just see it in the background now. So that's the farmer's field there that we came around. I'll just take it down a bit, probably 4 times. That's the farmer's field that we came round. Over there, there's the air raid shelter, farmer's field, and this takes you on to Eccleston Mere. You can just see it. But that was the way in that we used to hit Eccleston Mere. Sadly, it's all blocked off now. that's a farmer's field. If you just follow it round, right up behind them trees, that's where you get to Eccleston Mere. Sadly blocked off now. Let's flick that back down to one. I'm going to walk it back up. And that just stretches the full golf course, and I'll walk it down a bit more actually because somebody want to see it. And you get the guy on here now, Derek Riley. This guy cutting all the grass there, you can just see him. He'll probably tell me to get out in a minute, but my uncle's a member of this golf club, so if you mentioned it, I'll just say, if you look over there now, just where the guys are, and you can just see the fence running all along. I'll just try and zoom in on that. You can just see the fence in the distance there, just running along. That used to be another way into Eccleston Mere. It used to be a walkway. Sadly, we've blocked all that off now. You cannot get from West Park, and I'll show you a top shot from that. And you can see it there. You can just see where the wrought iron fence is. That used to turn right there and walk it all down. That took you into Eccleston Mere. And again, sadly, all been blocked off. Cannot get to it. But there is a wood behind it, and that's another way that we're going to check out. Not today, if we can get behind the fences there, but we're going to go out of here now and just get a few funny looks off the guys cutting the grass, because like I say, it's a private golf club. So we'll leave it before we get told, but if he did tell me to leave, I'll just say I'm Derek Riley, I'm a member here, and that's my uncle who is a member here. There you go. Give me a last shot. There you go. What blue skies today. Unbelievable. And we're lit back on the path. And you've seen the guy on the hole before looking at me. You know, you're not doing any harm, but you know, it's private property, this you shouldn't be on, you know. Well, you're not doing any harm, you know. That's what annoys you sometimes. A couple of guys coming down now. Morning, gents. Yeah, alright. But what a day for it. What a day for it. There you go, we get a last shot. And you gotta be careful on here, because you know you can become target practice. You can just see all the guys coming up now, but what a shot. And I get you a better shot of that as we go up, but I just wanted to get off here now because somebody will do target practice on you. Well, that's all I wanted to see. That is the money shot. Ball just coming in. But right over there, that was the way into Eccleston Mere. Sadly, all blocked off now. But can you see the red rocks again? It's all round here. It just all picks it up. I'm going to get a money shot here. If you look there where the tractor is, And if you look directly further on, put it on 10, you see it. That was the bull that was keeping an eye on me in that wood. There you go. But sadly, you're not getting to Eccleston Mere from that side, I'm afraid. We'll go back out this way. But if you just see the red rock, you'll see it all around here. And last look at the golfers there. There you go. What a clear day for it. But we'll leave the golf club and we'll carry on up the red rocks, and I'm going to take you right up to the top of Prescott Road. I'll hit it from a different angle, but this just leads all the way up really, and I'll tell you more about the history really as we're walking up of Eccleston Hall Estates. Like I said, there's loads of different ways in. And hopefully if West Park, again it's all fenced off at West Park now at the top, you cannot get in from that way to Eccleston Mere. I'll tell you more, I'll tell you the full history when we get to the top really. I know this gets a bit monotonous, a bit boring, but again you see all the fences for the golf club. You see all the red sandstone, all the walls. What you're looking at now here, this is Carmel College, and behind it is West Park Rugby Club. Again, all fenced off. But the golf club you pick up on Prescott Road, and people who don't know St Helens, like Charlie Collins, if you're watching this, Prescott Road just leads down to the Bird in Hand, so the golf club's probably from the top of here to the Bird in Hand, it's a 10-minute walk. Just give you an idea where it is. You get loads of cyclists around here and you fly down here. Just keep it going. But like I say, you just can't get across there now. Morning, pal. It's amazing how some people when it's the morning sun they struggle with it, you know. Yeah, got personalities, some people these days. And they've renamed it now, Notre Dame building. So we asked this young lady, she's on the phone. Oh. Yeah. What do they call this college now? Carmel College, yeah. That's it. Carmel College, I was right. Just when I seen that on top. Carmel College. If you're wondering how far we've walked, that'll just give you an idea. That just takes you all back down to the Red Rocks. So this full stretch is called the Red Rocks. known locally. We're going to hit it from the top now. Come on to West Park Rugby Club. I'll give you the full history of Eccleston Hall estates, and like I said, they're all linked, to Taylor Park, Leg of Mutton Dam, Mill Dam, and then on to Eccleston Mere. Hopefully these gates should be open, with the college open today, and you never know, we might just be able to sneak in. Not that I'll pass as a student, I think them days are long gone. You can just see some of the big houses, but that just gives you an idea. And you can see the sign there, public footpath, that took you all the way down. There used to be a lot of them going into Eccleston Mere, and I'm going to look into that and see where they've all disappeared to. Definitely disappeared to somewhere. If you're wondering where we are now, we're on West Park Rugby Club. There's a sign. This is the top of Prescott Road. So there's Prescott Road that takes you down to the Bird in Hand Charlie. But we're going to go right on top here now, and hopefully we might be able to get in here today. Yeah, gates are open, that's good. But at one time there used to just be a wall here that you could just jump over and get down to Eccleston Mere. But can you see how they've double fenced everything now? Because they just don't want you on. But can you see it? All double fenced all along. There's no way that you'd normally get on here really. But we're going to have a wander in, have a look. Like I said, there's the club. Players and officials go in there. There's West Park Rugby Club where they play all the rugby. And there's two pitches here. You'll see a pitch at the top and you'll see a pitch at the bottom as well. And if you look over there now, you can just see all along at the bottom pitch, it's just all been fenced off completely. Now this used to be a walkway to Eccleston Mere, and one, you couldn't get in here now. These are the rugby pitches of West Park. But this used to be the way into Eccleston Mere, and you can see all the new fences that's come up in green. There you go. That's West Park Rugby Club. That's where they play all the matches on a Saturday. And again, my cousin played for West Park for quite a few years up here, and Diane's uncle used to be the treasurer of West Park Rugby Club before he retired. But if we go down here now, you can just see this was the way into Eccleston Mere for all us Eccleston lads that will remember it. It's just completely fenced off. Basically, he used to walk here, and he was on to Eccleston Mere, and again, it's just fenced all the way around now. There's no way you're going to get in there to Eccleston Mere. All blocked off. All blocked off. So sad. And that was the way I thought I was going to do Eccleston Mere, to be honest with you. The only other way you can do it, there's a wood where all them trees are now in front, is a wood behind there that you can hit it, but I know it's fenced off there, so we're going to have to rethink Eccleston Mere, how to get on it, which is sad really, because I'm sure this was a public footpath at one time, and we're lucky to get on here today because we're not supposed to be on here, to be honest with you. So it's good to get this on the blog. It'll give you an idea where it goes. I know it might get a bit monotonous, this, that you're seeing the same old things, but again, I've come a few times top of West Park there, and you can't get on here at all. They're really awkward and funny with you, and you might even get pulled now going up. But you've got to push your luck sometimes to get to these places, and you'd never see them. Just sold to private developers, and walkways just go out the window. And like I say, just look, just fences all around. There's no way you'll get down to Eccleston Mere, which is so sad. How lucky we are today, them gates are up. Well, there you go, there's the last look. All behind them trees is Eccleston Mere. Completely blocked off now, you cannot get in it. But like always on Mark's Railway Trails, we'll always find a way in somewhere. All setting up. I'll give you the full history now as I'm walking back, really. There you go, West Park Rugby Club. Like I say, you just can't get in there now, if that wasn't open. Well, I'm going to head back down the Red Rocks now, and I'll give you the full history of the Eccleston Hall Estates, and that's where we've just come. Like I say, normally them gates you wouldn't get through there at all, no chance. But I'll just flip my camera down a minute. Yeah, I just flapped my camera down there a minute because Carmel College, all the students are coming out, and you get a few funny looks when you're videoing. But yeah, where we used to have the public bridleway there used to be one leading to Eccleston Mere. I'm going to look into that, and like I say, Eccleston Mere I tried to do the other week, and all the ways that I knew as a kid to get into it, they've all been fenced off, blocked off. And I thought I could have hit it today from them woods, but they sold it to the golf club now, part of the back of the land. But you just know behind that golf club there's going to be 10-foot fences again to stop you getting on. So sad. But we're back down the Red Rocks now, and I'll give you the bit more of the history really. Yeah, the Red Rocks is in St Helens. It's just off Prescott Road, the top of Prescott Road, and for all those who know St Helens, it's where Hatton's garage used to be, British Leyland garage on the top, which is now a co-op and a posh fish and chip shop that you can sit in. What we're walking down now is the ancient sandstone that was linked to Eccleston Hall in St Helens. And what it did, it linked from Prescott coming into St Helens. It's like say a bridle way really that you could walk down, and it just stopped you going all the way around. So it just cut a lot of the time off really. And it brings you right into Taylor Park and straight into Eccleston Hall Estates. And bit of a trek today. I think I've been out about an hour and a half. Up to now, I started video in about 50 minutes ago, I think. Ooh. But yeah, it used to be Eccleston Hall Estates. I'll give you a little bit of the history really. It was owned by the Eccleston family, Eccleston and Scarisbrick family. At the time they owned all the land around here, and they actually moved to Scarisbrick Hall because it was more of a posh hall really, more of a posh land. So they sold all the land to Samuel Taylor, who was a cotton manufacturer, and that's who built Taylor Park. Like I said, it's linked to Taylor Park. That's who built Taylor Park. And when he passed away, he left it to I think it's to his son, and his son sold it many years later and left it to the borough of St Helens, Taylor Park. It was left for the people at St Helens, and one of the stipulations was that they couldn't build houses on it, and it's stayed like that ever since. Eccleston Hall Hospital, they closed it down in size and it became a care home, and half of it went to a housing estate that you seen when we came in. We call it Eccleston Woods. But Samuel Taylor, he kind of built it all around here, Taylor Park. And for those who live in Eccleston, Christ Church in Eccleston, he actually built Christ Church in 1838 out of a lot of the stone from the quarry from Eccleston Hall Estates, and you'll see a lot of it on the walls and all around here, and that was built by him really. The house that I've shown you on the grounds near Eccleston Hall where the new houses are, and you've still got the remaining building, that was used by the hospital up until 1989, and then it was sold and they turned it into posh 2-bed apartments that you can buy. And I looked at the guide price that they're selling for, and they're going for about 250 grand if you want one for a 2-bed apartment with no gardens apart from the ones in front. Golf course joins it all along the Red Rocks either side, and that just leads down to Eccleston Mere. You can't get to Eccleston Mere now from this side, it's all fenced off. And I've done Eccleston Mere from the front, it's all fenced off and double fenced where the car park was. And I'm going to look into that because I'm sure there was a public walkway that's been closed off. But as I said many times with St Helens Council, they don't look after the heritage or history, unfortunately, not where there's land involved. If you do the Red Rocks, Bit of a lonely place. I certainly wouldn't advise to do it, you know, late in the evening, or because it is, people use it as a cutway and it can be quite lonely. I'm just following a lad down there from the college now. But you see how dark it gets in spots. It's amazing, the sandstone, isn't it? We used to shoot down here on our bikes, all those lads. Oh. Like I say, everybody uses it as a walkway now to get to the college. Just cuts walking all the way around. Yeah, but 1812, Samuel Taylor bought Eccleston estates, and if you're wondering who Samuel Taylor was, he was a cotton manufacturer, and that's where he made all his money. And they all link in, you know, with the railways. You know, I love the railway walks, they're all linked in, like the powerhouse of Manchester. They had to link it to Liverpool to get the cotton, you know. This is back where we started, really, and we're going to walk it back down, and I'm going to cut through. I'm going to go this way to finish the blog off, and I'll show you where it brings you out, really. You see a dark place, is it? But yeah, that's where the tunnels used to run down all along. Not a lot of people knew that, really. But yeah, the last remaining building on Eccleston Hall Estates, like I say, it's a Grade 2 16th century listed building now, and they got that award in the 90s. It's Grade 2 listed, so again, to protect it, really. And they turned it into apartments in 1997. But the Eccleston family, who had it before Samuel Taylor, they were Catholics, and again they used that Grade 2 listing building for a place of worship, and that was the first church. It wasn't actually a church, but it was the first place that they went to worship in Eccleston before Samuel Taylor built Christ Church. And then they turned it into a hospital, and it was like a sanitarium, and they used it for tuberculosis and, you know, chest infections, whooping cough. It was used for that. And if you remember me showing you the lost cottages at Taylor Park that we seen last time, you'll just see them here. I'm not sure, you can just see the bricks there that I showed you last time. Like I say, he's just picking up the light again now, but those the two cottages that used to be here. Sadly gone. And this just brings you back out to Taylor Park. There you go. A bit dark down there then, isn't it? And there you go. There's your sign leading you to Carmel College. Again, that just leads you to Taylor Park. up to the leg. If you go left, the leg of mutton down. If you carry straight on, you'll see the what we call the triple X dam on the left, and that's what we call it. 1, 2, 3, the 3 legs. So that's the Red Rocks on Marks Railway Trails. I'm going to cut through Eccleston Court Care Home for one last time. Brings us out to where we parked up, and we always finish on a ghost story on Marks Railway Trails, because you love a good ghost story, don't we? But Eccleston Hall in its day, Eccleston Hall Hospital here, you wouldn't have got in. There were high walls all round, all fenced off, and this hospital, like I've said to you many times, we used for whooping cough. And I can't remember the other one, what it was used for, but you always wasn't allowed in it. But they had massive trees in this hospital before all these houses were built. And like I say, it was used for tuberculosis and a sanitarium. But if you just look over there, you can see all the trees. This was full of trees, and obviously just sold it on to a housing estate. But yeah, for people around Eccleston, there it is, Eccleston Hall Hospital, just a care home now, and a new housing estate. But where you're looking now, when the hospital was in here, and this is where the story comes from. All the people of St Helens have heard it many times. The Grey Lady was a nurse that worked here in World War One, and she was due to get married to a boyfriend who was coming home from the army in World War One. They had the date set for her to get married. He was coming home on leave to get married. Unfortunately, he never made it home, and she was heartbroken. I can't remember the lady's name. I did have cuttings of it. My mum saved me about 6 cuttings, because St Helens Star were all over it for many years. And I always remember the date. It was June the 15th, just before fishing season started. And the tale is, and it is a true story because it has been documented, the lady walked the lakes to try and find her husband, and in the end she hung herself in Eccleston Hall Hospital, which is here. And legend has it, on June the 15th, she always walks the 3 lakes, Taylor Park, Leg of Mutton and the Triple X. And there's been many sightings, there's been over 70 sightings that St Helens Star reported on many years ago, and they've all come up with the same description. Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? But I don't know. Figures can't lie sometimes. But when we used to do night fishing on Leg of Mutton, it always stuck in your mind. And I've told you the tale. I'm not going to tell it again. When we was night fishing, it does stick in your mind. Again, public footpath. Well, they've kept some of these public footpaths. You can just see it. There's one there that takes you in. Back to where we started really, but I'm not going to go the footpath. I'm just going to keep this going until we get out of Eccleston Woods, they call it now, and they built all new houses on here. And there's only one way into it, and that's the way we're heading now. So it's quite a select area really. Done a nice job on it, and they've kept a lot of the houses and the wildlife at the side of it as well, so that's nice to see. But I can remember when this was being built, you know. And there was a bit of a protest at the time when they built this estate because of the all the woods. But what they did, they kept its character, if you notice, with trees. And we'll have a last look at the Grade 2 listed building on the way out. It just gives you an idea. Some nice houses, nice and quiet. Just give you a last shot of that. Eccleston, all private property, no public right of way. But there is a public right of way up there, so how'd you get to it? There you go, another sign, public footpath. Takes you down, and that just takes you out to where we started. But there it is. Grade 2 listed building now, and it's renowned for the 7 arches that they had around it, and what a building that would have been in its time with the Eccleston family. And it's all Welsh slate apparently on top. It's a grade 2 listed building now. But again, the gardens around here, Eccleston Hall, were always fantastic. And all fairness, they're keeping on top of them. They have done a good job about it. And this brings us out where we started over an hour ago, so I hope you enjoyed the blog. It's places of my childhood really. Well, Eccleston Mere, it's going to take some finding to get in, because it got sold, Eccleston Mere. Just to tell you a little bit about Eccleston Mere as we finish off the blog. Eccleston Mere was owned by Pilkingtons, and it was built by Pilkingtons. And the idea of Eccleston Mere, they filled it so deep with water, and the idea, there you go, Eccleston Woods, up to the Red Rocks, and we've just kind of done a circle and come back round Eccleston Farm. The idea of Eccleston Mere, it was built, Pilkingtons built it like a big quarry, filled it all in with water, and it was built to service Pilkington's glass manufacturer on Watson Street in St Helens. They used to drain all the water off from Eccleston Mere and 3 of the other dams, Mill Dam, and they used to siphon all the water off to cool the glass manufacturing down. So that's why it was built, Eccleston Mere. And Pilkingtons then put a sailing club on it, and you could walk around it. It was a great day out, like we've shown you just up there where we went. You could walk it all the way down into Eccleston Mere, walk round it. Lovely walk, watching all the boats. And you used to be able to get through it from this wood, but sadly no more. It's all been fenced off. And there's been a bit of stink really regarding Eccleston Mere, because a Rainford company bought it called Pheasant Estates, and they bought Eccleston Mere and they bought Mill Dam, and they use it for a private fishing now. I think it's about £700 a year to join, and double fenced it all around. You cannot get into it, but I'm sure there was a public footpath leading down from West Park, and I'm going to look into that. But I will be round Eccleston Mere. I will find a way in. And if you see me blog last week from Pilkington's head office, there's rumour has it they've bought that, all the fishing round there as well, and that's why I wanted to get that on the blog. So sorry if it's a bit monotonous, a lot of walking, seeing the same old thing, but Samuel Taylor, he did a cracking job at Taylor Park, and long may it survive, which I think it will, for all the legalities he put in when he sold it to the council. Like I said, this was Eccleston Hall Farms in the 1930s, before they sold it to Samuel Taylor, who extended Taylor Park, and that's who it was named after. Eccleston family moved to Scarisbrick Hall because it was a bit more posh, I think, really. Samuel Taylor's son inherited it, and then he sold it off, Taylor Park, to the council. And I think the figure, if I remember right, going off the top of my head now, he sold it for £9,000. So, you know, what's that worth today, really? A lot more money, you know. But that's it on Mark's Railway Trails. Like I say, Eccleston Mere, just over there. And like I say, that was built for the sole purpose of supplying water to Watson Street Works for Pilkingtons. But what a great walk, and see you soon on Mark's Railway Trails. We'll be heading to Eccleston Mere to get on it and walk it. Just a pity we couldn't get through the woods that I remember from 20 odd years ago. Sadly, couldn't find a tree with my name carved on it, but that's probably been sadly gone. So to Samuel Taylor, the Red Rocks, Taylor Park. See you soon on Mark's Railway Trails. Hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like, and I'll see you on the next one.